It is the duty of the free man to resist tyranny at every turn. Every man will either watch his freedom stripped away or take action to protect what he loves. Introducing the A3, the newest revolutionary body armor from Armored Republic. The A3 is the new standard for lightweight multi-hit body armor. A3 plates are incredibly light at 4.6 pounds. The patented design captures fragmentation while remaining multi-hit capable. The A3 will stop up to M80 ball, yet comes in at only 0.7 inches thick. The A3 is the thinnest NIJ .06 compliant or certified composite standalone plate that includes the drop test. The A3 is the first of its kind, patent pending, that combines an alloy strike face with polyethylene backing, revolutionizing body armor technology by providing strength and durability while remaining sleek and maneuverable. The A3 is the new standard in lightweight body armor. The fight against tyranny just got stronger.
It's an old song.
There it is.
This is an old song. Hey, y'all. Welcome to CrossPolitic on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. It's good to be with you, Pastor Toby. I'm the water boy. And we still, because Knox isn't here, we still have got Joe Vandal in the studio. Cheers. Joe Vandal, cheers.
Knox Vandal.
Yeah, Knox Vandal.
Knox, your skin is looking really pale. What's happened to you? And your eyebrows, they're very large.
Knox is still in Arizona, so the only way to fly Knox back is join our club. I mean, that's almost the only way.
Almost
the only way.
Nearly the only way. Want to remind you that the Grace Agenda Conference is coming up in August, and tickets are nearly gone. So the registration opened on Monday.
Hustle up.
And I'm told that hundreds of you have registered. The pre-conferences are sold out for the men and women. The theme of this year's conference is good education in the Badlands. And so Christian education is central to taking the fight back to the unbelievers, the darkness in this world. So come to Moscow, Idaho.
I mean, if you don't show up, I mean, it's like you're saying you don't love your kids. I mean, that's almost how serious that is.
Or it was sold out and you couldn't.
Yeah, that's true.
But one of those. We're not sure which one it was.
And we'll be doing some after parties and some stuff like that.
Exactly. So go to graceagenda.com and sign up today and come here. A number of speakers on the significance, the potency, the power of education and training up your children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Graceagenda.com. We're really grateful to have with us right now Siaka I should have asked
Massaquoi.
About your last name. I didn't ask about the last name.
Boom.
He got it.
Boom. Gabe got it.
Gabe
got it.
Gabe never gets it.
I'm a linguist.
No, you're not. Siaka's been a Hollywood actor for over 15 years. During COVID lockdowns, he saw all the chaos and lies being told by mainstream media, started speaking out. He now lives in North Hollywood with his wife, Charlotte, making music on his free time. Do you do UFC or you just watch UFC?
Oh, I just watched it. My knees and back are too old for that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that was my problem. My knees and my back.
but I shadow box like a champion. It looks like it looks great.
Man, Siaka, thanks for coming on CrossPolitic.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's an honor to be here. I love it.
Absolutely. So, I think it would be helpful, first of all, just to hear a little bit of your story. How do you end up acting in Hollywood? Where are you from? Were you born and raised there, or how you end up there?
I'm like, what mentally happened to you to end up in Hollywood?
Well, to be fair, I grew up a Democrat, so it is something that it is what it is. But no longer. So I did find Jesus. No. There was I grew up. I was born in upstate New York, Rochester, and I grew up in Chicago and / Evanston, Illinois.
Yeah.
I was raised by a single mom, but I think one of the biggest saving graces, I guess, of the situation was that she was an immigrant, came here from Liberia, West Africa. So I had a lot of that strong family. You can do it. Like, don't let anybody hold you down in that perspective, underlining my upbringing as opposed to some other people. But you're in school and you keep hearing that same narrative, and the world's against you, and white people in the South did this, and country people did that, and so it was still kind of like permeating in there. If we can get enough, I remember a statement, they say one day we're just waiting for all the racists to die off. I remember that was something that was always kind of taught to me over and over. But yet when you kind of, what does that mean really? Right. But so, I was going all through that. I got a scholarship to play college football at the University of Iowa.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was an amazing opportunity, which for a while I think I embraced it. And then, the darkness, I got caught up in alcohol and women.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough, that was the only two drugs that really held on to me. It wasn't like, marijuana or cocaine or anything. It was legitimately alcohol and women. And part of that was because I wasn't having the same success that I was having in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so to get that sense of adoration from the populace, if you will, to kind of remind you who you think you are, that I went down that path because it was instant gratification. College football players, you got the Idaho guy. What's his name again?
Joe Vandal,
right here.
Joe Vandal. I'm sure he's got some interesting stories, but things can be bad, and you're away from your family, so you're away from that safety net, and so it got pretty dark for a while there, and it cost me my scholarship and cost me college to a certain extent, and.
Wow.
But at the same time, I found acting because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was actually going to be a history teacher because I love history and I love kids. So I was like, well, all right, I'm going to go teach kids history. Right?
Yeah.
And then I look and I go, well, but I had all these books that had no pictures in them. So I was getting kind of, as you can see on my walls, I do love comics.
Yeah.
And so I opened up this book on the theater department and I put my finger down and said Black Action Theater. And I thought, oh, this will be easy. I watched Blade 1 and 2. I watched Action Jackson, all this stuff. I thought it would be a great go in there, just watch it. And the first day of this class, this is way before. I'm actually older than I look. I'm way before Key and Peele. This is even right before Dave Chappelle's show came out.
Oh, wow.
Kind of around, exactly, right? So Shaft, those movies.
Yes, sir.
And so I thought to myself, that'd be pretty easy. I get in there for day one of class, and this is a tall black dude from Harlem who has like an earring coming down to here, who has like a shirt that's unbuttoned all the way down to his midriff, if you will, like a leather vest on, and fatigue, like army fatigue cargo pants, and the fedora. And he comes in, he's like, "Everyone sit down. Welcome to Black Action Theater. You're gonna write here." And I'm just like, we're not watching movies, huh? He came in so hard, and I was like, all right, well, okay, let's go. And it was something where it became, as we start to prepare, we write our own little scenes. It was the first time in my life that the preparation was just as fulfilling as the end result. Mm-hmm. I hated practice as a running back too. I hated running to be in shape for it, but I knew I had to so I could be good at it. I hated lifting for it because I know I needed it so I could be, so I wouldn't get my body crushed.
Right. Yeah.
So, but this one in acting, it was the first time where I enjoyed reading the script, checking out the character, going in depth, writing, little exercises and skill sets in order to create the character, finding what works and what doesn't, and then coming out, performing, and you are moved one way or another based on that. Was like, that just was, all of that made sense to me. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I really fell into it and became a theater major. And 2004 came out to LA and started, still came out here with my same vices and troubles. So that didn't go away. Yeah. I started bartending and working in the restaurant industry and some stuff here and there, while still struggling with alcohol, and women.
So was your family Christian in Liberia? How did you become a Christian? In California, in Hollywood, I mean, God just don't work there,
Well, you know what? In my experience, I think he works even harder than most people can realize, because the darkness, you need something. After a while, it doesn't do. It's easier when you're in a place that sometimes can feel more comfortable.
Right.
When the darkness is hitting so heavy, after a while, you just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
For me, So my grandfather on my mom's side was the main pastor at the main church in Liberia.
Okay.
Where our family's from.
Okay.
So our family does have biblical teachings and groundings, but as we moved out here, and I think I always preface this by saying people are just doing the best they can by what they know. And the promises of whether we can talk about the feminist movement, the promises of, you can do this by yourself, single mom, like those promises, they were glorified a lot more than they were actually realized, I think, a lot of times. So we got here and we went to church, Baptist church, up until probably I was 11 or 12, but we were kind of just going because that's what you did, not because we were there.
Got it.
And it was when I started doing more sports in junior high, I was like, well, that's it. Not have to worry about it. So it was there in theory, but it wasn't there in practice. And then we went away from it. And then I'm in school, which kind of makes sense because we went away from it when I was 12. But it wasn't because we were like, I'm done with church, we hate it. It was more because I just started doing more things, started becoming more active.
Right.
And my mom's father passed when she was 12.
Okay.
So you see the main person that was the main driving force of religion in the household was gone at the same time we kind of started moving away from it in my time, in my life. So having that there, but it really was going to program and seeking help for my vice of alcoholism, my disease.
Okay. Wow.
And once I did that, I just started to see, oh, this is how it works. Like this is how it works, like especially for men's minds, it's like, well, how does it work?
Right.
And you start to see, you break it down and doing the 12 steps of AA, everything in there is really working on your connection with a higher power. I call him God. And now further in there, I wanted to continue to find truth. So as I saw it turn my life completely around, 180 degrees, I'm like, well, God's really saved my butt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me go further, because of course the big book, which is it's inspired by the Bible, and Bill and Bob are they were Christians themselves, Catholics,
right?
And so that's the underlying purpose. So then as my life is getting bigger, as they call it in the program, and I look around and I'm like, well, I want more truth. Then as the darkness starts to happen more and more in 2019 going into 2020,
mm-hmm.
you really start to starve for more truth. And that just kind of, get me closer and closer to God. Then we went out to Godspeak over here in Thousand Oaks, Rob McCoy, Pastor Rob McCoy.
Oh,
we had Pastor Rob on several times during the pandemic. We had him on the show.
Oh, yeah. So Rob in that church was instrumental in getting me just a Bible in my hand to start reading it.
Yeah.
Because it was August of 2020. My best friend asked me, he goes, hey, do you want to go, he said, do you want to go support this church that's been getting protested because they're staying open? I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
But we were supposed to go to Chino Hills to listen to Charlie Kirk, right?
Okay.
And then where we live in North Hollywood is exactly like 1 minute off either way. So one's 44 minutes, one's 45. So the drive's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Then he tells me after I'm getting all charged up, he's like, but they're giving out they may be giving out tickets. The sheriffs may be giving out tickets. So then, I'm not that brave and bold yet. So
it's going to cost me something to follow Jesus?
Yeah. It was like, to truly stand up. So I started kind of going, and I wasn't even at that point. I hadn't grabbed a hold of Jesus or believed that Jesus was my savior, but I believed in God.
Okay.
I saw God work.
Yeah.
And I asked him, but something came to my head. He says this, and in my head, I'm thinking, oh man, I don't want a ticket. And I thought, hey, what would Jesus do? And that's what I asked him. I go, which church do you think Jesus would go to? He goes, oh, he'd go to the one that's being persecuted. And in my head, I'm like, I would have to say, like, wherever you feel safe and comfortable.
Right.
That's what the flesh wanted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he just said exactly what it was, and it was like, all right, which ended up being one of the best things that ever happened, because I'm debating. I've done street debates, so I'm kind of like, and people's, we go back and forth, and I'm going back and forth with these individuals. And as I start to leave to go inside, my friends already went inside, but as I start to go, there was this older white lady that was there walking behind me. So I thought she knew where she was going. So I said, "Hey, do you know where we're going?" She goes, "No, I'm following you." I'm like, "Uh-oh, we're blind following the blind." But she told me she had just driven in that morning from Arizona because God told her she needed to be there to help this church, to help out in some way.
Yeah.
We go through the service, and right after, because they God speak to give you out a Bible if you don't have one, and right after she grabs her Bible, she opens it up. She goes, I need to tell you this. She opens up to Ephesians. She points on there, and she wants to circle in mine, but instead stops herself, circles in hers, Ephesians 6, the armor of God, and she's like, you need to learn this. Find a pastor and go through this. Like, God's telling me you're gonna need this. You're gonna need this. And this is August of 2020.
Wow.
August of 2020. Starting from September 17th of 2020, I was put on the censorship list of the Secretary of State here in California.
Wow.
I was given a $300 citation just by doing a recall table in West Hollywood. And then I got raided by the FBI. I got put on the front of the cover of the LA Times, lying about that we shut down the Dodger Stadium vaccine site, which we didn't.
Wow.
And then even after the raid, my face and name and everything was plastered over from Daily Mail all the way in England, all the way here from Chicago Tribune. Like it's being blasted out. And it really hit me as time went on. I'm like, wow, I was being told right there. She said, God said, get up, come out here for a reason. Now we're sitting there and I can look back and go, part of the reason was to get me to understand what battle was happening.
Yeah.
So that I don't sit there and not have friends that I think would have my back, not show up and think you're a bad person, as opposed to, okay, it's a spiritual battle in a different space, or, at a different level than we've ever seen.
So what
we had Rob McCoy on November 24th, 2020. So that was the first time. We've had him on a couple times, but that was the first time we had him on.
Just a little bit after that. So what, I mean, obviously you've got this like spiritual, trajectory in your life where, God was starting to grab you, yank you out of your sin, and you're starting to go to church. You're
finding Jesus.
You're finding Christ. Yeah. Uh-huh. But obviously, 2020 is this massive year for our nation. I mean, for the world, frankly.
Right.
What tell us about that side of it. So, you're the fact that you're maybe even talking to somebody, thinking about going to a church that's getting persecuted for still being open, getting fined, and standing up against these lockdown orders. I mean, how do you get to the point where you even think that's like even an option?
The biggest thing was that summer of love. And, since 2010, I grew up in Chicago. So I met Michael Jordan when I was 10 years old at my big brother's poker party. I met his mom when I was a senior in high school. I used to go to the Bulls games, Bears games when they were champions, and that's like most people say, oh, that's my city.
Yeah.
Right? And in 2010, Rahm Emanuel took over, and within that, within a year of him being mayor, it was the most violent city, more violent than LA and New York combined, and the numbers have just been going up. And
it kind of encapsulated, it kind of culminated in Jussie Smollett.
Exactly. of all the violence, and I think it's Juicy Smollett. So,
Juicy Smollett.
Juicy Smollett. That's what Dave Chappelle calls him. Juicy Smollett.
Yes, Juicy Smollett. But we're watching this, and I've been keeping track of the numbers for years. And then that summer it hits, and we're seeing people being taken out at a rate that it was like people were playing Grand Theft Auto and they didn't have any care. We were seeing kids, under the age of 18, 19 being taken out middle of the day. Like, people didn't care. These were predominantly Black kids.
Yeah.
But yet we've heard nothing from BLM why they continue to burn down those same neighborhoods that are poor and destitute. Mm-hmm. The neighborhoods, like I had when a 6-month-old was shot and killed in a stroller around the corner from where my mom was living in the south side of Chicago. Oh. I said, all right, Mom, you have to get out of there.
Right.
You need to leave. And all this time I'm watching where's BLM when it comes down to standing up for the lives? And I already knew it was a scam, but it's like this just it was such a explosion of violence in the city of Chicago, and accepted. And I have friends that still live there. A buddy of mine is at PD, and he was told to stand down when the city was being burned down by the mayor. While she was protected by cops on either end.
Yeah.
Now they got a guy who's twice as bad. So we're watching this happen, and then the other part of it was a fund was created by Hollywood, big names, to bail these people out around the country who were destroying cities.
Yeah.
And it just at that moment I thought to myself, all the things that I've worked for just to build this career out here in Hollywood and to be a working actor. 2019, that's all I was doing, being a working actor, which is, that's the dream, right? You want to hit that point. You don't want to be a bartender anymore. You don't want to work 5 other jobs just to do one acting gig.
Right.
That was the main moment. And it hit me to a point where I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do, in the sense of, okay, well, you're going to be an actor later or whatever. I just knew I couldn't support this anymore, and I couldn't be quiet about it anymore. And I just kind of started getting louder and louder.
But before I go to my next question, you want to get to an ad real quick?
Oh, right. We got another ad. Got to read that. Home. It's where you build your legacy, where traditions are started, where seeds are planted, meals shared, stories are told. Home is where you prepare to go out into the world. Finding the home that's perfect for your family is a big job. Story Real Estate is Moscow, Idaho's top real estate team. They give people real estate advice actually all over the country. Family homes, investments, land, new construction, or commercial. They know real estate. If you've thought about a move to Moscow or anywhere in the country, reach out to get connected with a Story Real Estate agent. Wherever you're going, they can help guide you home. Visit storyrealestate.com.
So Siaka, there's these beeps going off in our studio, but it's just what it is today. So don't.
I thought you didn't change the smoke detector.
No.
It's just Gabe's iPad.
Is it my iPad or is it my computer?
Oh, maybe it's your computer.
I can't reach it. Usually my computer's not controlling some of the studio, but today
notifications.
It is. Yeah.
Oh well.
So but you also are running for assembly now, or did that just happen, or you got involved in politics and all this?
Yeah. Well, it was the kind of thing that, again, I didn't know where it was going to go, but 2020, I started then going to the Trump rallies, and people would ask me to speak because I spoke at one thing, and then get caught up in the moment in the way of that. I have a skill set by being an actor to be able to speak in front of people, and then connected with my passion for this country and a passion for the Lord. It kind of made sense. But like between 2020 and 2021, in my speech, I kept saying, hey, if you are sick of what you're seeing, run for local office. If you're sick of what you're seeing, be the mayor, be the city council member, this, that, and the other. But people would ask me, are you going to run? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm kind of an actor, like waka waka. Like,
that's kind of what happened to me a little bit.
Yeah, it did, actually. Yeah.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah.
But something, it started to hit me when people would then reach out to me on Instagram, was like, hey, I'm running for mayor because of what you said. Thank you.
Right.
Hey, I'm running for city council. Hey, they were doing it. And I'm starting to go, it was more shame, to be honest with you. It was like, wow, how can I tell others to do something that I'm not even willing to do?
Right.
And looking around, a few movements happened. A friend of mine, Rachel Gunther, with Patriot Precinct Project, was like, hey, we think you should try to run. You should run on your area. We have assembly that's open. There was no one running against her. I'm like, well, hey, why not? Let's go. I have a little support behind me. I can see what's going on. I can knock on doors. And the things that I found out here, I would just implore every person, every Christian listening to this, everyone should run for something in your neighborhood, and you'll realize how much more people connect with what you believe and what you want for this country. And you'll start to see they're starving for this message. They just don't get it. Yeah. And like you said, we joked earlier, right? It's like, oh, you found God out in Hollywood. That's crazy. It's like, where if people are hurting, this is the triage right here. This is the MASH unit right here.
Yeah.
Right.
People are out here with limbs off going, well, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And the only people that now are coming in, to help them are the ones that go, oh, just cut off your other arm. Trust me, you'll be fine.
Right.
We'll let the government take care of you.
Right.
So I've just learned in that run is that we've advocated the spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the
That's right.
turnaround's going to be. It's not going to be because they should do the right thing, whoever they are and is in our head.
Yep.
We advocated the spaces, so we need to bust our butts to get back into these spaces.
Yeah, that's
at
right.
all levels.
And now, what's the numbers in your area? I know in our area, about 30% or so Republicans. It'll fluctuate. 30 to 40% of Republicans will get out and probably vote in our city. And
so we had.
And if,
Sorry,
and if,
go ahead.
no, that's okay. And if actually like something, I think the number's like 60% would actually get out and vote. We would control our mayor and our city council. And right now we're in this blue dot in a red state. We're in Idaho, and our city is controlled by the leftist, and they're very cultish, and they do cultish things.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. But conservatives largely are like chilling at home or not involved or not engaged. And so we just kind of give the city over to them. It's crazy. We actually have the numbers. We actually have the numbers. That's what's crazy about it.
That's the other side. I was having this conversation and now I'm going to, again, running starts to show you and helps you to kind of, again, not to turn off certain arguments, but to move away from arguments that don't really matter. And one example I'll give you is the idea of the cheating in the election. Evil is going to evil. So they will cheat any way they can. But if we have about 12.5 to 13% conservatives show up here in Los Angeles County alone to vote, is it easier or harder for the cheat to happen?
Right. Right. That's right.
So if we can't even hit 50%, I don't want to hear you complain about their cheating because we can't even get a number out that at least shows that the cheating has to go over the top. Yeah. So we need to, I liken it sports, right? We need to get our equipment sharpened and tightened first before we want them to play fair, if you will.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And that's, again, Christians get back in it, but there's so many holes within the Republican game and playbook that before we start to hope that side does well or we get a chance to win, we need to start fixing these holes. Our boat's sinking not because of them, but because of us. Yeah. And that's an easier win that you can get to. It's easier to win that way as opposed to believing, how do we stop them? Always working on how to stop them will not get you anywhere.
Right.
How are you better? How are you greater? How can we get up and now you're big enough to chest up, to be a barrel chest and say you ain't going to take to the space anymore. Right. But we have to shift our mindset in that.
One of the I'm struggling with President Trump right now.
Oh yeah.
I largely, I mean, of course, I'm my ideal candidate. He, is it Exodus 18, where Jethro says you need to elect candidates, or you need to elect leaders over your city who don't lie, hate covetousness, and love the truth.
Right.
Like that's the bare minimum qualifications. Well, I can't find a politician that doesn't lie. I can't find I can't. It almost is, right. I can't find a politician who hates covetousness. I mean, all our politicians want our money, and I can't find a candidate who's like, who I trust cares more about the truth than anything else. That's my bare minimum for the qualifications of who I want to be voting for and as a candidate. But President Trump, I didn't vote for him in 2016. I did vote for him in 2020. I didn't vote for him in 2016 because he didn't meet any of those qualifications, and he really doesn't still. But he picked some battles and showed me some things that I thought he was fighting, some things that needed to be fought in our current climate, which is why I voted for him in 2020. I'm still not excited about that principled vote there. Right. I still I still feel like I'm having to fudge my principle to vote for him still. And now here we are coming up on another election, and I keep wanting to get away from Trump, but then he keeps doing things I feel like I mean, he got arrested, or he got indicted, and I'm like, he's still fighting some major battles. I mean, he's still
like he's like catnip, where like the leftists like are so infuriated at him, and they go crazy over him.
He's also their news cover, because if they don't, when they talk about him, the last 2 days, Trump was indicted, right?
Yeah,
it was a big hoopla.
Yep.
In that same time, we just saw Leo DiCaprio was on the stand speaking about a Chinese multi-billionaire who paid about $30 million to the Obama campaign in 2012 illegally. Leo DiCaprio was on the stand saying this. So that's.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Nothing, right?
Nobody's talking about that.
That's a real thing.
The same day Trump got indicted, Stormy Daniels lost to Trump, and the judge ruled in his favor that Stormy owes him over $130,000.
Right.
Like, that wasn't reported.
It's just a cover.
Yeah.
It's just a cover. That's all it is. And with the Trump thing, I would say like this to a lot of people, as conservatives in general, right now they're saying Trump or DeSantis. Pick whoever you want to pick, but there's no need to argue and fight over it, because all that is fodder for the left. That's all that is. I look at Trump right now as Trump is the guy that he is, in a sense, he is us. He's the average American, and the way they're treating him is what they want to do to us.
100%.
I believe part of what they already did to us.
Right.
Right. I was raided. He was raided. For what? Nothing. Right. And then there's other people that are in jail still to this day for what? Nothing. We saw a video for walking around with escorts.
Right.
Escorts meaning police escorts, not the other stuff. But
well, they're both kind of the same at that point. Like, when you get tried for January 6th, you're walking with a hooker one way or another.
Yes, you're right. No,
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. So it's like you look around, and to me, what Trump represents, because again, I have my reservations about things that I believe he should have done while he was still in power, for the January 6ers, for the vaccine and jab.
Yeah,
he's just right now such an example, and I don't know. Everyone's compromised by money in some way, shape, or form, but his money is at least his own, and you can know where it's coming from. Where money right now being moved around with some of these candidates, they come from the same people who are connected with taking out Kennedy, who are connected with, giving hugs and several deals to China and Saudi Arabia. So it's like, we can get excited about certain moves, but where is the money coming from? And they showed us so much that they cannot have this guy in the party. I'm like, no. Something about that needs to come back if he gives a chance. If he has it, but he needs to be back in there, in my mind, because they didn't want him so much.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want him so much, he needs to be in there, because he took away their money laundering scheme in Ukraine and Afghanistan, and the Paris Climate Accords and the Iranian deal. Because he took away that, because he stopped the caliphate over in Syria, so that we can actually remove our troops from more, mobster type of rule that the America has been famous for since they took Kennedy out. That means something. And that we talk about the globalists and the new world order. That means that he's against that, in my mind. So that's where I look at the importance of it. What are we getting? What are we buying for, or what are we getting for if we don't purchase Trump?
Yeah.
What comes with something?
Are you gonna run again?
I'm not sure yet right now, because in working in leadership, there's a lot of holes, and I'm seeing some more latitude to help fill those holes.
Okay.
When it comes down to our precinct operation running properly, whether it comes down to speaking around just the county and the state, the lower half, because we need to know each other. We need to connect. We just know we can pick up the phone and give a call out to CrossPolitic and get 2 or 3 people of our candidates on there like this.
Yeah, man.
Because that's what the left has.
Yeah.
And my skill set is in meetings, shaking hands, and kissing babies in that sense. But I don't know. If there's, again, like next time, and we get everything running, and now we have a machine going that's a little more active, I throw my name in a hat. If we still have holes, it's like, all right, well, I got to plug and play here. I gotta try to keep this thing going. So we'll see.
Well, it's great to meet you, man.
That's right.
Really appreciate hearing some of your story, and thanks for standing up for a bunch of normal folk and giving your voice to us. And keep up the good work. And now I got to go find something that you acted in. I was looking up while we were talking, like, what's a show where I can watch you?
Check out. So I did the Babylon Bee. California's moved to Texas. I don't know if you've seen those episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen it. You did that?
Yeah, you should check it out. We did 6 episodes.
Okay.
People loved it, so it got a really great feedback. Joe Rogan ended up retweeting it.
Okay.
You can check out on Rumble. I have a sketch comedy group I've been working with for the last 3 years now called What the Fact.
Okay.
It's just comedy.
Yeah.
We're on Rumble channel, so look us up. What the Fact is just comedy there.
Okay.
We just signed a deal with Lore TV, Lore.tv.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, I know them.
So Marcus Pittman lives in our town. We go way back with Marcus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Marcus and Jason and all those guys.
Yeah, they're our boys.
So we're gonna then get the word out for Lore, because we need Lore to work so that we can create our own streaming service for this. So we have our comedy on there.
Yep.
You can see what we've been doing for the last few years, and you can go back and check me out on some old Netflix stuff if you want, but we don't need to get into that.
That's great.
And do you have a website for people to just want to keep up with you, or Twitter handle or whatever?
You can find me. Well, find me on my socials at Siaka_Massaquoi on Instagram, Siaka Massaquoi on YouTube, Twitter, and Truth, and Facebook as well. Also, you can then find me at I was lost last one. Also follow us at Hollywood for Freedom. Hollywood for Freedom. That's the number 4freedom.com. We're creating a database for professionals here in the industry in Hollywood that are Christian conservatives or just sick of not being able to tell their stories.
Yeah.
So that individuals like CrossPolitic, you guys want to do a movie, you can get high-level actors, producers, writers, directors from Hollywood who want to work with you. So check us out.
Hey.
Hollywood number 4 Freedom.
Hey, that's
Thanks,
awesome.
Siaka. Appreciate you. You get 2 closing.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, two
kinds of
closing
songs.
Yeah, because when Gabe's running the show.
That's what you get. So if you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. If you have kids, go baptize them. Until next Friday. We're actually here tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Go love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And Knox, get back in the studio.
Yeah, get back here, man. Joe Vandal's so boring.
Hi, I'm Robert Borton, CEO of Classical Conversations, the world's largest classical Christian homeschooling community. I'm launching a new podcast, Refining Rhetoric. If you like CrossPolitic or just listen to hear what crazy stuff they're saying today, you will enjoy Refining Rhetoric. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform. I practice the 15 tools of learning by interviewing great guests, looking at current events, and talking about cryptocurrency.
Home. It's where you build your legacy, where traditions are started, seeds are planted, meals are shared, and stories are told.
We are Chris and Natalie Carpenter, owners of Story Real Estate, and our team of top agents helps people find homes in Moscow, Idaho, and around the country.
Have you thought about a move? Contact us to get connected with a top agent who shares your values and puts your family first. Or reach out to us about our Moscow relocation guide.
Wherever you're looking to go, we can help you find home. Call us at Story Real Estate or visit us at storyrealestate.com and start building your legacy.